porn magazines with books and naked boys in the bedroom. The prosecutors, I said, were fairly convincing when they pointed out that Jackson's only long-term relationships were with children, children who often slept in his bed, not just for a night or two, but one boy for a full year. And the tape the prosecution played, the accuser first, after telling authorities about the alleged abuse, pretty powerful. I hadn't seen it before, and either that boy was reluctantly telling a difficult story about abuse, or he was and has a bigger future in Hollywood than his mother thought. I said this mother has major issues when it comes to her credibility, and if this case comes down to her, Jackson will walk, period. And that's still a possibility. But prosecutors were smart to point out that she was not the brightest bulb, but still could have pulled off this massive conspiracy to bring an international celebrity down without first asking for money. I said this is the closest call I've seen yet in a high-profile case, but it's a stronger case than I thought. I have no problem admitting that I was wrong about that. I did view this as a very close case going to trial, and I again think that's why the defense team deserves so much credit. But in the end, do I think this was the right verdict? Yes. I think that there was not enough evidence to believe that, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Michael Jackson molested this boy and served him alcohol with the intent to molest him. The conspiracy charge was based primarily on the testimony of the boy's mother, whose credibility was simply decimated. But I don't think that it means that Jackson's been vindicated. It doesn't mean that he's just the gentle, terrific guy that Tom is portraying, misunderstood and targeted. I think that he spent far too many nights in beds with boys alone to believe that. I think he's paid too many millions of dollars to settle claims to accept that. The stories of the boys were often too consistent. The boys looked too similar. His bedroom, filled with a sort of smut and milk and cookies loving Peter Pan-like figure, would either ignore or abhor. And I'm reading in part from something that I said at the end of the case, and that I thought that the jurors might dislike Jackson enough to convict him, but they didn't do that. It doesn't mean that the result is a moral one, but it wasn't the question the jurors were asked to answer. And I think on the specific question the jurors were asked to answer, that they answered it in the only way that they could. Let me make a final point about media coverage of these cases. I think actually in most cases in those of us who admit that we are, and again, when